Hello, my name is Rainer Hanekamp and this is NG News with the latest updates from the Angular community. Angular version 22 is out and the most outstanding feature is the stabilization of the signal forms and the resources. There's more, but maybe let's start with these two. Resources. There are three functions: resource, Rx resource and HDB resource. They were introduced in Angular 19, received significant changes in Angular 20. In Angular 21, we became the snapshot feature. Resources have been experimental all the time, and after almost 1.5 years, they leave experimental status and become stable. Similar story for signal forms, but just at a faster pace. They were introduced in 21 and are now also stable, so no developer preview either. So in some way, these are features which we already knew and which some of us have already been using in production. And let's not forget, Angular aria also became stable. But there are also other features as well. For one, we have the add service decorator. That means it is on one side a shortcut for add injectable provided in root, and on the other prevents using dependency injection via the constructor. Instead of constructor-based dependency injection, you should go with the inject function. And there is a dedicated migration available, nggenerate at Angular core inject. Another feature for dependency injection is the asynchronous injector. So the value returned by injectAsync is not the service instance itself. You call it when you need the service and await the result. Why do we need it? Well, same thing why we do lazy loading in the router. We only want to load when it is actually needed. So you won't use injectAsync if you need the service immediately. It's more if the user clicks on a button or some other event later happens. The injectAsync requires the service to be provided in root, which means you can already apply the add service decorator for it. And we have a debounced function. You give it a signal and a debounce time, and you're getting back a resource. Debouncing means when the signal's value changes, the value in the derived resource would wait for the defined period of time until a new value comes. If that's not the case, then the resource will take on that value, and if not, the debouncing starts again. And since the signal has always an initial value, the debouncing for that first value does not happen. Debounced is in experimental status, whereas add service and injectAsync are already stable. In Angular 21, we have received Vitest as the new default testing framework. For a lot of us, migrating from Jasmine was not easy because fakeAsync and waitForAsync was not available for Vitest. With Angular 22, that is possible again, but remember, fakeAsync and waitForAsync depend on Zone.js. So if you have plans to move zoneless or you are already there, it is not an option. If you run ng update, which you should, then all your components which don't have change detection strategy OnPush will get a change detection strategy Eager. And that's the alias for the old default value, because the new default value is now the OnPush. And by the way, if you want to migrate to Zone.js, the first step before removing Zone.js is to add OnPush to all of your components. And in terms of AI, there is now an experimental support for WebMCP. That means that an agent can connect to your web application and do certain tool calls. The way how it works is that you register certain service calls, Angular service calls, as tools. You add description and so on and so forth. And if the browser supports it, an agent can connect and start calling your services. So it is not necessary anymore that the browser has to read and interact with the DOM. WebMCP is still in development, but we can expect to hear more from it in the future. There is also a feature which sets up forms for WebMCP. As always, there is a lot of community content out there. We had a release video, a release blog, and Mark Thompson, Angular's DevRel, was also guest at the Angular Plus show. For this episode, we additionally used the blogs from Cedric Exprayar from Ninja Squad, Manfred Steyer from Angular Architects, and Mateusz Stefanczyk from House of Angular. Last but not least, a very important information. The popular ngneat organization was removed from GitHub. It contained widely used libraries such as ELF for state management or specdata for testing. At the moment, we don't know why, because there is no official communication or statement. But what is important, that most of the libraries have been recovered and found their way back to GitHub under a new organization called ngneat-archive. We will keep you updated on this topic. And that's it. I wish you a nice week and see you in the next episode. Goodbye.